Coaches Corner. Sean, Coach Jarvis, Mr. No Excuses. So today's episode is going to be about prep, the good, the bad, and the reality. So we're going to go back and forth. I just finished a prep, and Jarvis has been in his off season, and he's getting ready for things coming up in 2026, and he'll talk a little bit about that. So we're jumping straight in. So we'll talk about the good. We'll start with the good parts of prep.
Let's say congratulations, though. Right?
Oh, congratulations!
Congratulations to you. You know, you pushed pretty hard.
Yeah, we did pretty good.
Insert applause.
Yeah. Do that.
All right, cool.
Oh, thank you. And so we learn a lot about ourselves during prep. Learn a lot about yourself, like physically, spiritually, emotionally, by putting yourself through hard things on purpose. You see what you can do and what you can push through so that when things come up in your life that are difficult, you are prepared for them. Now, let's talk about discipline. So his name, Mr. No Excuses, obviously requires a lot of discipline to not make excuses. So where does the name Mr. No Excuses come from? And talk about how prep carries you with discipline, not only in the prep itself, but to your business, your relationships, mindset, everything that goes along with discipline.
A great question. No Excuses came from it came from me owning a car dealership back in the day. So it didn't even have anything to do with fitness at the beginning. I used to own a car dealership in Vegas, and once I started it, my idea was that there's no excuses for you not to buy a car from me. There's no excuses for you not to have the red carpet rolled out for you. You know, I wanted to make the experience of buying a used car feel like a new car. I wanted you to have a great experience, and I feel like there's no excuses why I couldn't make that happen. So I named it No Excuses Motors, you know? So then that transferred over into, like, the other things I started doing. And when I was get into fitness and owning that car dealership, I started thinking, okay, my whole lifestyle is about no excuses, you know, going through a bunch of different trials and tribulations coming up. I start realizing, like, I'm not making any excuses. I'm just going for it, you know? And it kind of stuck with me from there. And then it rolled over into this fitness world where I was like, okay, well, my mindset is to not make any excuses, just get up and go. You know, if I don't want to run for my boxing training, I got no excuses, get up and go. If I don't want to eat this food, no excuses, get up and do it. Like, I can't have excuses. And then I had to learn the difference between a reason and an excuse. And then when I separated those two, I became Mr. No Excuses.
It's kind of like how the way you do one thing is the way you do everything, like putting your freaking shopping cart back, right? Like, you get out of Albertsons, taking that extra 10 seconds to put it away. That's like the most common, like, influencer example, as far as, like, that one little thing translates into the next thing, the next thing. Those little simple successes, those little daily wins that compile onto each other. So you're great in prep. I'm pretty good in prep. And as far as, like, the physical transformation that happens with our prep, it comes a lot of pride with it. So that's something that can be taken as a positive or a negative, right?
Right.
We're looking at the positive side of pride, and the pride in your business, and the pride in what you have accomplished and what you can accomplish for your clients, how you motivate other people. Taking pride in that is not a bad thing. You can still have humility and be thankful for all the help and assistance you've gotten. But being able to take pride and to look back on everything that you've done and everything that you've learned is a very important feature of prep. One thing that we like to take pride in is, like, the mental fortitude and, like, the trials and tribulations, as you said, that can happen during prep. And last year, some of the things that happened during my prep, as my comeback prep after the pec tear, was with the passing of Miguel, and then with Diane's diagnosis, and ended up passing away this year with her pancreatic cancer. There's a lot of things that happen during prep that you can't control. And sometimes you get those doubts in your head as far as, like, well, why am I doing this? And should I just be taking this bodybuilding thing less seriously? But I look at it as more of a foundation, right? It's the one thing that you can control. When you're in prep, you can control what you put in your mouth. You can control when you go to bed. You can control your training, your intensity, all that stuff. So I find that prep is more of like a cornerstone or a foundation. And when you look at it that way, you start viewing the positive sides of prep. If you look at prep as like this arduous thing that, oh, I have to do my cardio, or I have to eat this clean food, or I have to, get up early and do this, or whatever it is, that just instills that reinforcement of negative, 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 as opposed to, how great is it that I get to be able to do this? How nice is it that we get to wear sweats to work every day, right? And prep has a big like mental side of things. And I want you to speak on like the mentality, because the one thing that I noticed about you when you prep is I don't know if I've ever seen you unhappy. I don't know if I've ever seen Jarvis mad. You know what I mean? I kind of want to do something just to tick you off one day to see what happens. Right? We see you box and stuff and see you get ferocious and, headphones on in the gym and stuff. But in the end, the minute you turn around and get done with your set, you're like laughing or, saying something. Yeah. So talk about how do you keep the head screwed on so right? Because I know I can get to be a little bit of a dick in prep, but I tried. I think it's the best prep I've ever had. Yeah. Had the most smiles on my face this year. But how do you do that? How do you make it so that prep is, whether it's enjoyable or not on the inside, you do a great job of showing it on the outside?
A couple ways. I have certain rules that I like to live by and think by all the time. And I got a couple of rules that, like, in life, like, I've been through a lot, so a lot of things I won't let get to me, like little things like driving, road rage. I won't have road rage. I just won't. I don't need it. Like, because, that those can lead to devastating things, words. I try not to let words affect me. I try not to. I'm human, so try not to let words affect you. So just little rules, little things like that. They kind of help me keep me in line during a prep or anything like that. So I don't usually get mad because I've experienced a lot of life, and if those rules are broken, then I'll get mad. So if something affects my family, my daughters, then that'll upset me. I'll get upset with that. If something affects my business, like directly affects my business, my income, I'll get mad at that. Or if it's something, a family member or something very important, then I know
priority list.
Yeah, it's a priority list, and I have that, and that's locked in. And if anything intervenes with that, then I'll get mad. Anything outside of that, life goes on. So that's one thing. And then how my mentality during prep. I have this mentality that if I see somebody with something, I automatically think, why can't I have that? Because they're human. They bleed like I bleed. They think like I think. They move like I do. There's no difference between that person and me. We all have the same time a lot of in the day. So I don't see any difference between what somebody else has and what I have. I just have to figure out a way to get it, right? So that's what drives me. Like, so when you look at these people on Instagram, you look at anyone, you look at anybody that's in amazing shape, I look at myself and I'm like, why can't I have that? You know what? I can get that. All I got to do is grind. All I got to do is work, and I can get it. I got married in Hawaii last year. And before that, I never thought about getting married in Hawaii because I thought that was a dream. I thought that was something not obtainable.
Like a fantasy.
I thought it was like, man, only the best of the best can get married in Hawaii. And I told my wife, I was like, why can't we do it? Like, why can't we get married in Hawaii? And we started planning it, and it worked out, So it's just that thought of, like, nobody's better than us. Nobody's better than me. Nobody's better than one another. It's how they use their time, And that drives me to do a prep. That drives me to be the best, because I want to set an example that anybody can do this. If you grind and you want it bad enough, you can do it.
Right. I look at it like controlling what you can and coping with what you can't. Because you can't control what someone's going to say to you, do to you, right? And then taking a second to reflect and think about before you react to somebody, and not getting emotional. That's a huge part of prep in my mind.
Yeah.
Is because the emotions, especially when you're high cardio, low carbs, low food, like, it can kind of play games in your head. But having that foundation, having a coach, right, to keep your head on straight is very important. I had one where I was like 4 weeks out from the show, and my coach could tell by my check-ins that I was like, oh man, we're not ready, we're not this, we're not that. We didn't drop weight, X, Y, and Z. So I sent him my progress pictures, and he kind of laughed, and he screenshot it and sent me back from exactly a year before, 4 weeks out, the same type of message that I sent him the year before. And he put the pictures side by side, and I was like, 5 pounds more muscle, like 7 pounds less body fat, like everything looked better. And he goes, you sent me the same exact message at 4 weeks out last year. And I remember sending that message, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But having someone there to check you and be like, look, dude, that's your emotions getting in there. Right. A lot of people ask, like, well, why don't you prep yourself? And I find that I have so many clients and so many other things to deal with, whether it's the peptide company, online clients, or anything like that here. I would rather put myself in a position to succeed by having someone else just take over the meals, the cardio, the training program. So that frees up my mind to allow space for everybody else.
Right.
And I just feel like I'm a lot better of a coach when I have a coach.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I think all coaches should have a coach, you know?
It was standing on the shoulders of giants, right?
Exactly.
Like I've had Pete Ciccone, he's still my mentor to this day, who I've mentioned before. Like without him, I would have learned half of what I knew about bodybuilding. And then with Coach Neto, I've learned a lot from him, and then all the other podcasts and influencers and everything, continuing to do our research. Hopefully we're going to be imparting a lot of knowledge throughout the series that we give for you guys. Now we're going to move on to the reward of prep. So I'll start first. As far as the greatest reward that you feel from prep isn't about a trophy or a placing. It's the reflection when you look back and see the growth that you have, regardless of placing. You get first or second, third, fourth, whatever you get. And as long as you're progressing from the year before, you're never going to be stopped. Like you said, right? Like, why can't I have that? It's that forward and forever progression, and you will get that someday. Now, I find that through the different setbacks that you and I have both had, whether it's business or physical or everything, whether it's pec tear, there's loss of family and friends, coworkers, that mental growth is there, the physical growth is there, the spiritual growth is there. That is the most rewarding part of prep, because a lot of people ask, like, well, you don't get paid. No, it actually costs us a lot of money, right? And then even if you turn pro, like the first thing they do is ask you for money for a pro card.
Right.
It's not like you got sponsors lining up.
Yeah.
I trained plenty of pros and turned plenty of people pro. You might get like a local meal prep company to send you some like protein mac and cheese. That's about it.
Right.
You ain't getting much else out of them. So it's not a financial thing, really. I think it's all from the mentality and what you learn about yourself. What would you say? What's your key to when you look back at like the priority of looking back at prep?
The priority as far as like doing prep or why I do the prep? Or?
Yeah, like what do you gain from it? Besides obviously chasing the pro card, what is your reason why?
My reasons why I would say is the ability to change, to transform. You know, you gotta think, we're in a rare field, right? We're in this bubble where in order to change someone's physical appearance, you gotta be a surgeon or a personal trainer.
Yeah, right.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, so we can literally change the way people
Or own
look.
a McDonald's.
Right.
That's the wrong way, though.
Well, I can actually,
Sorry, McDonald's.
just the gratification of me being able to transform myself or to transform someone else from point A to point B. I mean, that's you can go to medical school for 10 years, right? And you can be able to transform somebody. Or you can go to personal training school and be a life coach, and you can learn how to appease people differently and show them a different way and show them that they can transform. You know, and that is so much value. That's the driving force for me, because I feel like I can change someone. I can change people. I can make them better than they were yesterday. So first you got to attack the mentality, and then you show them how to train, and then the food and diet, and nutrition, and
it all falls into place.
All falls into place, yeah.
Making an impact that can be generational, right?
Yeah, yes.
You teach some moms and dads, they teach their kids, because you look at like my parents or whatever. My dad was in the food and beverage industry, so he knows how to cook. That doesn't mean it was like prep food.
Right.
And then my mom, she's working all the time, so it was like frozen dinners all the time. They didn't know nothing about nutrition or anything like that. So the ability to now teach the next generation or the parents of the next generation to make an impact for the community is huge.
Right.
And prep teaches a lot of that mentality and discipline and everything. So not that everyone should prep, and that's what we're going to go into next is the bad parts of prep.
Right.
So what society would say, I made a little list here of the bad parts of prep, would be like stress in relationships. You're not able to go out with your friends and, you know, party or eat bad food or have a beer. That's usually what the societal side is. Your non-prep friends that don't really understand. And then I looked at it from like a person who's in bodybuilding and coaches, and like what we would look at as like the bad parts of prep. I think for us, it's more like a body dysmorphia thing. Like injury risk, obviously, like with my pec tear 2 years ago during that prep.
Got a little spider on your leg right there.
What's that?
A little spider on your knee.
Spider?
On your knee.
This little guy.
Yeah. There you go. He's gone.
Not allowed on the podcast.
Wow, you just don't zoom into that. Do not zoom into that.
Yeah, slow-mo. Can you get slow-mo?
I actually saw him come from the ceiling all the way
All
down.
the way down, bro. You
to
tell
your
me
leg.
after he bites me?
I mean,
If I swell up and die, bro, that's on you.
just do this. You're fine.
Yeah, I'm Spider-Man. So we'll go back to it. So what we think is like stressful or you know, my biggest thing is like the financial cost, right? Because prep can take a lot of time away from you too. And that was one thing that I did poorly during prep, was actually not reduce my stress load from work. And I kept saying yes to everything.
Yes, I
because
noticed that.
a lot of people, when you're in prep, they start making the excuse of prep, like, oh, Sean's acting this way or Jarvis is doing this because he's in prep.
Right.
And prep becomes this like all-encompassing negative thing. But they're putting that on us or that on you or on me, right? Oh, Sean doesn't want to go out because he's in prep.
Right.
It can't be any other reason, like, oh, Sean's tired or it's always back to
He's in prep.
he's in prep.
Yeah.
And so, but like right now, if someone was like, hey, Sean, you want to go out to dinner? And I was like, oh, man, you know, I'm not really feeling it. Oh, okay, cool. Well, I'm not in prep anymore. But now there's just like, I get an excuse now.
Yeah.
But it's easy to have prep be the fall guy. Right? So what would be like, say, 2 or 3 things that you find are like the hardest parts, or what people would say are the bad parts of prep?
I would allude to the same things. The time you have to spend with yourself. I mean, being in prep is a very selfish time in your life. If you want to do it the right way, meaning you have to make yourself the priority. Everything you have to do. I have to go eat here. I have to eat this. I have to do this. I have to go here. I have to be there. I have to set up this. I have to do that. Oh, I have to prep. You know, it's a lot of things you have to do. So I would say one of the drawbacks maybe is that if you want to do it the right way, you have to be selfish for that a lot of time, you know. So your significant other, you got to have somebody really supportive, because they got to really understand that it's really, you know, it's not about them right there in that time. It's about what you need. You have a goal. And if they're supportive of your goal, you're good. If they're not supportive, if they're anywhere more selfish than you are, then you gotta have a problem. So I mean, I would say that's one of the drawbacks, is just the time that you have to spend with yourself. You know, that's a.
It is tough too, because as a trainer and a coach, usually you're a very giving person.
Right.
And it comes a time where you're like, you got nothing left to give.
Right.
And yet you still do. We still try. And that was probably like one of my bigger mistakes. Just like I said, his prep was doing too much, especially towards the end. But a lot of times it's almost like an anxious energy thing, because you don't want to sit around and think or be lazy or be tired, because you feel like you're letting yourself down or the people around you down. And so sometimes that messes with your rest and recovery. On days that I should have been like taking a day off, I'm like, no, I'm still going to do X, Y, and Z. I'm not going to ask for help. I'm going to do my laundry, do the dishes, do this, take the dogs for a walk, and do all these extra things. And I'm like, I was at work for 15 hours already.
Right.
You know, maybe it's time to take a sit, sit down. But taking time for yourself, while it is selfish in the moment, that's when you need that ability to reflect back later and look at like, what did I gain in that time to make me better now, right? And then you become more selfless after.
Yep, that's
kind of like exercise in general. We want to jack our heart rates up during that hour of cardio and training, so that the rest of the time our heart rate is lower and our blood pressure's down, right? For that short stint of time, we're pushing so that the rest of our time in our life, we're in a healthier spot. It's the idea of prep. in the short time you're doing a lot of stuff for yourself to learn about yourself to become a better version for the rest of your life. Now, some people don't care, and there's dicks during prep, and it's like, I'm in prep, I'm gonna be a dick, and they use prep as an excuse.
Yeah, that's true.
But I think a lot of people try and make prep an excuse for you, and they try and like nitpick and find stuff that was completely normal to you as a person. It's not maybe it's a little quirk that you may or may not have. And then they try and say that, oh, it's because of prep. I was like, I was the same way 6 months ago, and you didn't say nothing to me,
Exactly. Yeah.
So I think that's kind of funny too, when they try and project it on you.
Yeah.
As far as like food and going out and stuff, I find actually that I didn't miss it as much this prep as I thought I would, because I did do a lot more and I said yes to a lot more things. I just feel like my my attention for it and my ability to like stay out or hang out with people was just a little bit more short.
Right.
But I think it was a lot better extending my prep and making it a little longer, so that I had every 4 weeks or so, we were allowed like to go out for a weekend or something.
Okay.
Instead of doing like a 12 week straight through prep, doing like an 18 to 20 week, and then every couple weeks giving yourself that little reward, like a night out, or you know, take the girlfriend out, go out with the buddies, or whatever you're doing. I felt like that was a lot easier. It seemed like a long ass time, but when you look at it as these little broken up chunks, it was a lot easier for me, at least mentally. But you'll have to decide for yourselves, right? Like, some people are better being hermits for 12 weeks and then just going, hiding under a rock.
Right.
But especially as trainers and coaches, usually we're pretty social people. So I found that extending the prep made it a lot smoother.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know what you've thought about your preps, but usually we used to do these like 10 or 12 week, like straight to 2 days of cardio, straight to it. And I was like dead by the end of prep. I was struggling. But this time I felt way better.
I've had a few long preps, but most of mine, I don't want to say that I've been in like decent shape, but some of mine are like 8 to 6, maybe 10 weeks max.
Yeah.
Some of them were the last like 2 years of preps were kind of fast. We decided to do a show. All right, let's just go for it. And then so some of them were fast.
You usually start pretty lean though.
Yeah, I start pretty lean, and then there was a previous show before that I've already done.
Right.
My last competitive season, I honestly went for about 4 years straight. So this fifth year this whole year. This year I actually took off, not competing at all, and it helped. It helped a lot. I do miss it, and I'm ready to get back for it. Starting the new year, I'm ready to go.
When what are you shooting for month-wise for next year?
Since I took a year off, I'm not really qualified for anything. So I'm looking for, I guess, the first small show to get qualified. And then I want to do something big. I want to shock the industry. I want to do like the Arnold Classic, the Junior Arnold Classic, I think. And I want
Arnold Amateur?
Yeah, I want to do the Arnold Amateur.
Is that an invitation one? Did you have to like petition?
I'm not sure if that's an invitation. I know the pros.
Right. I wasn't sure how the amateur one was.
The amateurs. I think you got to get qualified, and we'll see. But either way it goes, that's what I want to do. I want to go after the big amateur show. I want to attack that big amateur. So that way, when I do come out, they know my name. They see me. They're gonna know like, oh, that's Mr. No Excuses. He won the Arnold Classic. That's him. That's the one we got to watch out for.
You're gonna be like Prince to give you a symbol for a name, or whatever. Ain't gonna be no Jarvis no more.
Exactly.
Now let's talk about like the reality of prep. So a lot of people like to glorify prep. Oh, prep's great. I get to wear my bikini. It's all shiny. Get my hair did, right? And guys are like, oh, yeah, it's pretty easy for me, X, Y, and Z. Stay pretty lean the off season. Just do what coach says. So some people like to glorify prep. And I think a lot of people enjoy the glitz and the glam and the oil and the tan that comes on the day of the show. But the reality of prep is you are doing, whether it's 10, 16, 20 weeks, to get on stage for about 2 minutes.
Right.
And stand there half naked with shaved up and oily.
Yep.
With a bunch of other dudes.
Facts.
And mostly dudes commenting on your pictures and sliding in your DMs. And I probably get more dudes in my DMs than I'd like to tell.
Yep.
But
facts.
It's like, it's
a big fact.
Sweet. But what are some of the things about prep or the show that maybe people don't realize around peak week and the rebound? You can talk about like the mental side of things, or because a lot of people see Instagram, they see this like beautiful girl, this buff dude, and they see he's like, oh, this big smile on stage, but what's the reality of something that they're not seeing, like a fan looking at those pictures?
I would say, I mean, I kind of say it a lot. It's something that I feel, I don't know if everyone's the same way, but I feel like the worse you feel, the closer it gets to the show, the worse you're gonna feel. For most people, some people not like that, but for the most part, the worse you feel, the better you look. And
Yeah,
that
it hurts
because
at the end.
because it's hurting. You're tapping into another level, closer to that peak week, and
Body fat's low.
yeah, body fat's
Feet
low,
hurt 'cause you got
energy's low,
no
and
fat on your feet.
You're nonstop. People don't realize like you're supposed to be resting, but it's calculated rest. I did this, so I get to rest. I do this, and I got to go rest because it's all calculated. So I mean, during that time, if you really really go hard, it could be really they may see you smiling, but they don't realize how much you suffered to get to that point. And you probably suffer. You're probably smiling because it's almost over.
Yeah, right.
You're smiling because
Think about that cheeseburger.
Yeah. Ooh, after this, I go backstage and I'm gonna tear that donut up. you know?
I think mostly for me, I was like, can I get some fucking water?
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Big plate of water, bro.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted. And now we got 2 questions that I asked on Instagram that people responded. Here's 2 of the cool ones I thought was, what is something you wish someone told you before your first show?
Oh man, that's easy. The whole tanning situation. I wish they told me what was going on backstage when it came to tanning. I mean, the first thing they asked you, one of the things they asked you was, do you want a sock?
I wonder what that sock's
And I'm like,
for.
no, I'm not getting my feet done, ma'am. No, do you want a sock? She's like, no. And then I look around and I see what a sock is like. I'm like, oh, that's what you put the
Some
sock
socks
at.
are bigger than others.
Oh, no, I don't need a sock.
Yeah.
Right? And then, the whole tanning experience is wild if you've never done it before. Yeah, you got to do it. Yeah, you need to do your tanning. So out there, if you're thinking about doing a show, you need to get tan.
And if Mark Rodriguez is watching this, shave your legs.
Shave your damn legs.
Fucking curly ass hair.
Can't believe it.
Count 3 shows in a row, bro. I'm going to fly out to Texas, bro, and shave it myself.
I'm going to look that up.
So, all right. So, the tanning situation. Yeah, that would have been a good one to get warned about.
Yeah, I wish I...
And then the other one was... It was asked about the difference between the first show and the second show. And 2 people had asked a similar question. So, what did you learn in the second show that you had as a misconception from the first show? So, I could go first. For example, I thought after my first show, you could just start eating. And, you're just going to, everyone said that's the anabolic time, bro. Mm-hmm. Your body's ready to grow. Mm-hmm. And so I learned in the second show how much harder prep was actually the second time because I got fat and put on too much weight after the first show, because after the show is not the time to grow and put on. You need that recovery phase or that rebound phase to get healthy, get the metabolism back up to a baseline, because you've been beating it to crap for the last however many weeks.
Right.
So from the second show to the first show, that's what I wish I would have done a lot better. Because I blew up on like 25 pounds in 3 days, and I'm like, oh yeah, we're getting freaking strong again, and your gym performance is up, everything's doing good, and then you realize I just look like the Michelin tire man.
Right. And
like
your
like the Pillsbury Doughboy. You know what I mean? You look like I just got on a 15-hour flight to Dubai.
Right.
So what's something that you wish you would have known from the first and second show, that difference there?
All right. Let's see. For me, it'd probably be the time on stage. You prepare, you do what you want to, you prepare. And then by the time it takes you to get on stage, you do your posing routine. For me, as men's physique, and we're not up there very long at all. So in my mind, I thought I was going to be up there longer than I was. So the posing was like slow. I kind of slowed it down, or my timing was off on the posing. You don't know. It's your first show. Sometimes there's a lot of competitors. They're going to rush you on stage. So you don't know the timing of being on stage, So for the first show, that experience of doing the first show to the second show carries a lot of weight. Kind of know what to do, what to expect backstage, because it's different for everyone. It's the second show, I was able to get up there, nail on my posing, and get off in a timely manner. The first show, I think I was still hitting my back pose, going into my front pose, and when they start calling the next competitor on, and I'm like,
yeah,
robot off stage.
Yeah, right. It's like, the professionalism, right?
Yeah. So
right,
it's that little experience part where you got to know how to hit your pose, front back, get off, versus like front back front. Oh, I can stay on here forever. No, get your butt off stage.
Right. Sometimes they change it too. There's a ton of competitors. They hurry you off. You know. That's it for today, but we talk about, because we wanted you guys to give some more questions. So our next episode is going to be on how coaches manage competitors and how I may do things differently than Jarvis, or how our coaches manage us differently. And then the other segment we're going to have is advice for anyone considering your first prep, because there are a lot of things to think about, and we want to give you a list of like the psychology of it, the training styles, the cardio, the time commitment, and the financial commitment. So we're going to talk about like the coaching side of things, and we're also going to talk about the prep side of things for the competitor, so you can make sure you have all these boxes checked, or that all these things are in line to make sure that your prep is the most efficient as it could be. And the financial part is considerable. So we'll lay down and we'll put in the show notes and everything on the next episode, everything that you should expect to pay. And we might even go into some supplement costs and stuff like that as well in that episode as well. Okay. All right, Jarvis, you got anything else for us today?
Nope. Just stop making excuses and put the cookies down.
Yeah.
Which one's my camera? You heard that. Yeah.
There's like 3 boxes in the fridge right now. Protein cookies.
They're protein cookies, right? Yeah.
All right, y'all. We'll catch you next time on the Coaches Corner.